We had done a few sentences of this section last time, but we'll quickly run through them and then proceed further. In those bright realms are mind's first forward steps. Bright realms, the spiritual mind. He has listed number of aspects of the spiritual mind: depth intelligence, secrecy, magician, arch intelligence, inspiration, imagination, mythology. These are the bright realms. Into that are the first forward steps of our mind. In those bright realms are mind's first forward step. Actually, that is what should happen. Beyond the rational mind, you have to really step into the suprarational regions. Suprarational regions. They have a reality, they have a validity, they have something much deeper, much higher, much profounder kind of understanding of things, and mind must finally move into those realms. Unless you go into those realms, you cannot really go beyond our mind. You cannot really have the Gnostic knowledge of the Gnostic being, supermind. So this is the evolutionary scale which one has to climb beyond that. Ignorant of all, but eager to know all. Ignorant, oh mind. Mind is ignorant of all. Ignorant, tactile, of all I am, but eager I am, Pyrrhic. Know all, Spondy. Ignorant of all, but eager to know all. Well, that is a nice positive thing about mind. It may be ignorant, but it has the urge to know things. It has the urge to know things. That is the positive aspect of mind. Its curious, slow inquiry there begins. There, in those bright realms. Ever searching, it grasps its shapes around. Ever it hopes to find out greater things. Eager to know all, therefore hopes to find out greater things. Ardent and golden glade with sunrise fire. What a line. Suddenly the inspiration is different. Ardent, rocky, and golden glade. I am, with sunrise fires, I am. Ardent and golden, alert. It lives upon invention's words. It lives upon invention's words. So that is the kind of a constant discovery this mind is able to make in those bright realms. Yet, well, that is the positive part of it, but it has its own limitations, it has its own shortcomings. Yet, all it does is on an infant scale because the child coming up from ignorance. It is a child coming from ignorance, you see. Does it on an infant scale, as if the cosmos were a nursery game. Mind, life, the playthings of a titan's babe, as if the cosmos were a nursery game. As one, it works, obeys a mimic fort. That is what people do, the children do on the beaches of sand, you see, on the beaches of the sand. Miraculously stable for a while, made of the sand upon a bank of time. So the discoveries of this mind, the inventions of this mind, they are actually castles of sand. They are there today, tomorrow they will disappear. A wave will come, a tide will come and sweep away all those gains. You see. Made of the sands upon a bank of time, mid and occult eternities, shoreless sea. Well, that is the occult part of the whole working there. made the sands upon a bank of time. Now that is actually in a certain sense reminiscent of what Newton had said. Some of his last words before he died, all the great discoveries of science he had made, how he himself evaluates them. He said that after all, I was a baby, I was a child, an infant boy, playing on the sands of time, on the beaches of time. Today they are there, tomorrow they will disappear. He himself said that kind of thing. In fact, it's a very beautiful quotation I got here. I will read that thing, what Newton said about his own achievements. He says, a little before he died, he said, I do not know what I may appear to the world. Well, a marble mind voyaging to strange seas of thought alone. That is what Wordsworth speaks of Newton. Newton, he speaks, the statue of Newton is there in Cambridge University, statue in a marble, and Wordsworth says, a marble mind voyaging through strange seas of thought alone. And it's one of the most beautiful lines, voyaging through strange seas of thought alone. Well, that is what the world does think, but how does he himself think of his own work? Newton. I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy playing on the seashore and diverting myself in now and then, finding a smoother pebble or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. The great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. Mid an occult eternity's shoreless sea, you see. Great ocean of truth, occult sea, eternity's shoreless sea, lay all undiscovered before me. Well, Savitri himself was from Cambridge and Newton's statue was there. He was definitely aware of what Newton had said, and that line is definitely reminiscent of Newton's last words. Mid an occult eternity's shoreless sea, a small keen instrument. This mind is after all a small instrument of whose? Of that great power, fusions. Fusion. We have seen that power fusions earlier also. Mind is the instrument of fusion. Chose an arduous pastime, passionately pursues. A small keen instrument, the great fusions choose. An arduous pastime, passionately pursues. Well, grammatically, here you got fusions chose, you got passionately pursues. So you have to understand that the line is an arduous pastime, passionately she pursues. She chose and she pursues. Now, there is a little bit of an editorial problem. What we have here is a small keen instrument. Now, this A has been made in the revised edition as this. This small, instead of keen, it is first. This small first instrument is what we have got in the revised edition. This small first instrument, the great fusions chose in the revised edition. The reason given is this and first are on a chit pad in shape in his own handwriting. In shape in his own handwriting. This and first are on a chit pad sheet in his own handwriting, manuscript. Now, Nirodharan copied them as was on the chit pad. This small first instrument he copied correctly. At the time of dictation, she happened to change this to A and first to key. When the ledger was being read out, when it was being revised, then he changed in the process this and first to A and keen. So now these people, instead of going by what is dictated, are sticking to what is there in the manuscript. I am not seeing much of a logic in that. I don't see, because after all he has dictated himself a small cane, and it sounds better also. A small cane instrument instead of this small first instrument. It doesn't sound very well, you see. The small cane instrument. Cane has a definiteness, you see. Cane instrument, the great musicians chose. See, great musicians choosing first instrument is not a very felicitous phrase. An arduous pastime passionately pursued. To teach, why does she pursue? To teach ignorance is her difficult charge. Her task is to educate ignorance, to bring knowledge to ignorance. To teach ignorance is a difficult charge. It's really a difficult charge. I mean, you don't know if the fellow is a dumb fellow, how you make him wise? You can't make him wise at all. It's a real difficult task, you see. Dumb chap remains dumb only. You see, something has to awake in him. But that is why this is a difficult task that Puritans has undertaken. After all, you can't keep ignorance as it is. It has to become less and less. It has to finally turn into knowledge. The whole process of transformation has to go on, and that is a real difficult task for Puritans to do, you see. To teach the ignorance is a difficult charge. Her thought starts from an original nascent void. See, she is going all the way down, below ignorance, down below even inconscience. She is going down below even inconscience. First you have got the void, then you have got inconscience, then you have got ignorance. So these are the kind of early evolutionary stages. So she is going down that fusion, and she is doing a wonderful job, a very big job in fact. Her thought starts from an original nascent void, and what she teaches, she herself must learn. Obviously, how things have to be worked out, that is how we have to understand. Arousing knowledge from its sleepy lair. Knowledge is there, supermind is there, but in its sleepy lair. It is to arouse, it has to wake up, you see. So that is the great job. That is why, you see, these Puritans, Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Puritans, Kriya Shakti, P is capital, great power. She is now handling something right at the bottom of the thing, you see. Arousing knowledge from a sleepy lair, for knowledge comes not to us as a guest. Well, it doesn't walk in like a guest. See, it has to be kind of woken up, it has to be prompted, it has to be stirred up, it has to be urged to come out, you see. For knowledge comes not to us as a guest.